Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you are. My name is Ian Calford, and this is the Rogue Country page. And I'd like to thank Josh Bettis for getting in touch and asking me to be a part of this. Basically, I've got 5 questions from Josh, and I'm going to answer them. 1 video, 1 question. So, and I got to answer honestly as well. Not that I wouldn't answer honestly, of course. But the first question is, how did I first get into the music? Now then. So, I don't know is the answer. This music has been a part of my life forever. My father was a musician, and so I was born into it. When I was a baby and my father was on tour, my mother would go with him and I would sleep in his guitar case. It's something that I've always been involved in. I can't think of a moment, or a day rather, that I've woken up and not either seen, picked up, or played a guitar. I can't think of a day where I have not played music, listened to music, or read something about music. It's just around me all the time. I'm enveloped in music, and whereas some may think I'm a blinkered kind of person, looking at one genre, that couldn't be further away from the truth. I love country music and everything within that, whether it's hillbilly, whether it's rockabilly, Cajun, bluegrass, zydeco, western swing. I love it all. But country is the genre I like, and been a part of my life as much as I've been a part of music for the last 55 years. Answer number 1. Thank you. So here we are, question number 2. And it is, what is my favourite guitar in my collection and why? Okay, so kind of easy, because it's here, right next to me. This is my favourite guitar, purely because this guitar belonged to my father. This is a Martin D35, and this was my old man's go-to guitar. This is the guitar that he put food on the table with. This is the guitar that he paid the bills with. And this is the guitar that was basically a working tool. This is what he always called this. This is a tool, just like a screwdriver is a tool for an electrician. This is a tool for a singer-songwriter, okay? Entertainer, whatever you want to call it. But this is a 50-year-old guitar, and I love it. It sounds beautiful, and I've got lots of other guitars, but this is the one, I'd probably say that my favourite sounding guitar, I have a 1937 Martin D28, which is absolutely phenomenal. I have an OM40 Martin, which was one of only 8 ever made, which is a very rare beast, and it's the one that I use on my solo shows, in fact. And I need to stop using it because it's too rare to use. But it's not too rare to be advertised, and if it's going to be advertised out there on a show, then why not use it? I have a signature guitar made for me, which is that's a special instrument. I got a D76E employee Martin, which was made specifically for the employees of the Martin factory 50 years ago almost. And that one belonged to John Peers, of John Peers Strings. So yeah, I got lots of favourite guitars. This one is my favourite for the personal attachment to it. Because this was my dad's, and this is still in the family. This is a guitar that I'd never sell this. This is going with me into the hole, or my boy will have it, or my grandson, or one of my grandsons, or my oldest daughter. Probably my oldest daughter. This is my favourite. Martin D35. There you go. So here we are again. Question number 3. Josh has asked me if I could pick 4 on the UK scene, 4 artists, 4 bands, 4 acts on the UK scene to put a show on with me, who would it be? Right, first of all, what scene do we mean? Do we mean the UK country music scene, or do we mean the scene that I play on, the UK rockabilly scene? I played on the UK country music scene for nearly 27 years. Same on the rockabilly scene, about 30 years, If I had to pick four acts of the country scene, UK country music club scene, I can only think of 2 now, which are Chuck McAuliffe and Brian Hughes. I can't think of anybody else on that circuit who I would actually book to perform on a show with me. The UK country music scene has turned into a plethora of wannabe singers that use backing tracks and have no heart or feeling or soul when it comes to the music. My old man used to say when the backing tracks started coming out, that there's no feeling, there's no soul there, and I detest them, absolutely detest them. So there's only 2, I'm afraid, Josh. But then if you look at the rockin' circuit, the rockabilly scene, if you want a real good country music band, the rockabilly scene is the place to go. And I think I'd have to have Clint Bradley, Glenn Doran, Prairie Echoes, the Dole Brothers, Lynette Morgan and the Blackwater Valley Boys. And all 4 of them bands are different, categorized in the rockabilly circuit, but they're all different, western swing, western, rockabilly, hillbilly, that kind of thing. I haven't spent too much time on the alternative country music scene. I've seen a lot of acts out there, acoustic acts that call themselves country, but I don't see it. I don't see how somebody can be classified as country because they just play an acoustic guitar. Doesn't do it for me. So I guess that's my answer, Josh. Okay, here we are. So question number 4. Josh has asked me, which artist would I say has been my biggest influence? Well, British Country Music Hall of Famer in the first round of inductees, this man here. This is my father, Carl Ford, and was inducted into the British Country Music Hall of Fame in the first round when it first started back in 2001, 2002, when the idea was great, when the whole thing had a buzz around it, and it was a good thing which I supported at the time, but it's kind of lost its impetus now, and it's become a bit of a farce, really. So what do you think? My father put me up on the stage when I was 5-year-old, and I performed a Jimmy Rogers song, Waiting for a Train, which I still perform today at my shows, my solo shows. I do it at all my solo shows. And then getting me to listen to the music that he had, listening to Jimmy Rogers, then going from there, and then just taking out a record from the radiogram. We had a radiogram, for God's sake. And then putting a record on and having to listen to that, and thinking, wow, that's cool. You know, by the time I was 5 or 6, I was playing Hank Williams and the Carter Family, and then you develop a ear for the music. You start to listen to songs, and this is Hank Williams. I was 5. Oh, this is Hank Williams. Oh, this is Hank Williams. And then when he was away, I'd sit in front of the radiogram and I'd take the records out and I'd look at them and I'd put them on, and then I would listen to the Carlyle brothers, Cliff Carlyle, Bill Carlyle, and I'd listen to that kind of music, and I used to think, wow, this is great. So I'd go from there. So that's the foundations of bluegrass. And that led me on to Bill Monroe. And I can remember putting on Blue Moon of Kentucky for the very, very first time. Blue Moon of Kentucky by Bill Monroe absolutely just made the hair stand on the back of my neck. And then my father came home and I was playing Blue Moon of Kentucky, and he said, oh, you like that, do you? I said, yeah, I like that, Dad. 6 or 7 maybe. He said, have a listen to this version. And he pulls out this 78. For those of you who don't know what 78 is, I'm not being pedantic, but it's an album. It's not an album. It's something that comes in a sleeve, as opposed to on a stick. Okay, and it runs at 78 RPM on the turntable. And for those that don't know what a turntable is, it's where you put a record on. People laugh at that. Even my son laughs at me when I pull my vinyl out, because he uses downloads. And the first time I showed him a cassette, he said, what the hell's that, Dad? I said, it's a cassette player. It's a cassette. It's a tape. It goes into a cassette player. He said, what's a cassette player? Well, there you go. So anyway, I've digressed. Blue Moon of Kentucky by Elvis. Oh, blew my mind. So the influence of my father, again, widened my scope. And I started listening to all the early rockabilly that was around at the time. And started buying all the records I could out of my pocket money. And yeah, it's his fault. When all the kids in the street were listening to the Bay City Rollers, Sweet Mud and all that kind of shit, I was listening to proper music played by real musicians, great guitar players, great bass players, great drummers, fiddle players, what have you. So yeah, it's my father. Carl Ford is my biggest influence ever. Here we are again for the last question. This has been really quick. I did think it was going to take a long time. So the last question that Josh has asked me is basically, what would I rather lose a thumb or have my wife sell my guitars for the price that I said I paid for them? Okay, there's a couple of things here for me. First thing, I've never told my wife that I paid less than I actually did for the guitar. So I've always told her the truth about the amount that I paid for the guitar. As a result of that, I have had to sleep in my van, sleep in the back of the car, anywhere except the house, downstairs on the living room floor or the couch, out in the garden, because I'm a firm believer that if I tell her what they're worth, if I tell her what I paid for them, then it's no problem. And that's pretty much been our marriage. I've been married for 30 years, and she has never ever been a pain in the ass when it comes to my music. She's always been really good, and you know, I've been very unthoughtful, and I've been very unsociable, and I have been difficult. I've taken over the house. I've taken over several rooms of the house at times, and now I've got a room that is full of guitars all over that back wall over there. I got a couple behind me, and down that back all over down there, and I got a few in my daughter's house as well. So, but I've always been truthful when it comes to my guitars with my wife, and when it comes to anything, shit, man, and she's gonna shoot me. You buy a good guitar today, tomorrow it could be worth twice the amount. So I'm gonna have to veer towards the thumb, because, and only because, if I told her I paid £2,000, let's just say for example I paid £2,000 for this guitar here, and she went out and she wanted to sell it for 1,700, and then the reality is it could be worth £4,000. So she's losing out, and I wouldn't want her to do that. So I think, purely because of the fact I wouldn't want my wife to lose out, I think I would have to lose my thumb in order to preserve my integrity and keep the flag flying for good guitars. I think I could learn to play without a thumb. I could just do this, maybe. But if this on the other finger, because I do thumb picking, I'd be kind of bollocksed. And I'd have to put plectrum in there. It's a difficult question, Josh. Josh, you said you weren't going to give me any hard questions. That's a difficult question. I'm kind of veering off to the thumb losing. But there's so many things to think about. Yeah, so I think you got me on that one, Josh. Possibly the thumb, maybe not. Anyway, thanks for the privilege of being on the Rogue Country page, and you know, I don't always say what people agree with, and you know what, I don't really care. I like to think that I got the knowledge of what I talk about, and you know, there are some things that I'd like to talk about. There are things I will question, and there are comments that I will comment on, and I will give feedback. And if you write a shit song, I'll tell you. And that's all really. You know, some people out there don't like me, but I drive other people wild in more ways than one. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Stay safe.